We're back. We're live. We're raw. It's
Good
Jeff and Deb.
morning.
Good
How's it
morning,
going
good
today, Jeff?
afternoon, good evening. Everyone's somewhere.
Oh yeah, somewhere. So I got to tell you, I'm so pissed off. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I did not get to go to Inbound last week.
Yeah, what the
I,
hell were
s-
you
I,
thinking?
I swear, I just had this other thing and I couldn't go. And at the time I was thinking, okay, but I swear, Jeff, you were all the way out there in California and I was sitting here in Pensacola, Florida, and I could feel a disturbance in the marketing force as the Inbound conference was going on. And
There
there's
was a
so many
disturbance for
conferences.
sure.
Come on. And you and I, we're kind of like conferenced out. We're just kind of past it, right? Because for so long we go to conferences and we already know all that shit, right? We're not learning anything new. But it was really, really different last week at Inbound, and that's what I want us to talk about this week.
It was different. I came in, I had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to do going into next year. Halfway through partner day, I'm like, shit, like we gotta, there's a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of new playbooks coming out. Props to HubSpot. They're really, really kicking it.
They're kicking it. And let me just put this into context when Jeff Pedowitz says kicking it. Jeff, we've been in marketing automation since what year?
2007.
No, well, the company.
Before that, yeah, 2003, 2004.
So when did you join Eloqua?
2005, I think.
No, it was 2004 because that's when we met.
Yeah, I'm getting too old. I can't remember.
I know. You and I met in 2004 because I had bought Eloqua and you were head of professional services. And I was like all jacked up because I didn't know up from down because there were no metrics or anything. And that's actually when we met. But the point of it is that Jeff and I have had a front row seat to everything that's going on in the world of marketing automation. And I think that where HubSpot is positioned right now, especially after Inbound, really makes them a force to be reckoned with.
There's no question. Just the sheer move up to enterprise, number one. The sheer volume of feature updates, there was over 200, and not just small features. How they're embracing AI and how they're just pivoting to change to a whole new model.
Oh, and I definitely want to talk about AI, right? But let's talk about the audience first. Who was there? Were there what kind of marketers were there? What kind was sales there? Rev tech? Marketing ops. Who was there?
A little bit of everything. That was really and I've been to a lot of conferences. It was my first Inbound, and I gotta say, really a really warm group overall. A lot of people just open to sharing, networking. Really great vibe overall. There were agencies, there were marketers, there were technologists, there was a lot of CMOs there. So,
and were they walking around with kind of like, oh my God, all this stuff coming? What was their vibe?
Yeah, actually, because I think, I think HubSpot just catapulted. It was a little overwhelming for everyone, and me too, frankly. Because here's the thing, them and Salesforce both. They're doing a great job of just really innovating on the product. But even with the stuff, even before we got to the conference, there already was a big gap today with how people are using what's already out there and what's available. And now coming out of the conference, the gap is that much wider. And so here's the challenge, but the opportunity. If customers just start even using a fraction of what HubSpot's put out, oh my God, they're just going to be marketing for the millennial.
What percent do you think they're using of their martech stack right now?
10%.
That is crazy. I don't think there's another technology investment in the galaxy where people only use about 10% of it. And I don't care what platform you're buying and what part of the company that you're buying. That's crazy.
Well, I think we see the same thing with Marketo and Salesforce and Eloqua and all that.
Well, I understand, yeah. I think in the whole marketing automation world, that's true.
Yeah, yes, the entire market. But that's been a general theme. And understandably, these software vendors have been racing and pushing to AI enable everything. But but everyone is still at ground zero mostly. I mean, people are
Yeah.
just playing around with ChatGPT or Claude for writing some emails and doing some meeting transcription. You start talking to them about agents and process automation and data segmentation and orchestration at scale. Just the eyes just completely glaze over. I mean,
Right.
everyone's excited about the
Right.
opportunity.
It's like the future's right here, right now. It's not coming. It's right
Oh,
here.
no, it's now,
Yeah,
and just,
it's absolutely now. So I want to back up before we kind of get into some of the particulars. But at the highest level, what did HubSpot get right?
I would say at the highest level, two things before we even get into all the features. One, a recognition that, I mean, look, they've made their whole name on inbound, on search and content and bringing people to your website and having them go organically through a funnel. So they recognize that buyer behavior in LLMs is completely changing. So search is rapidly, they said 2028, people would be searching more in LLMs than they do Google. I think we're seeing that now.
I think it's
now. They recognize that, okay, hate to break it to everybody, you just spent 20 years building these great, beautiful websites. People don't give a shit anymore. They're not coming to your website. They're gonna find the answer in ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or Gemini. Or when they go into Chrome and they do a normal search, but now the AI is coming up at the top.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And you know what? I mean, I simply can't imagine just going into Google and doing a search. And if it's not AI aided, I'm certainly not going to do it. I think just about everybody I know, if I have to do a search, I'm going into ChatGPT or Claude or something like that, right?
No one's going to navigate through pages. And already, even before I voice search, like we talk, we're in our cars, we're talking to Alexa, we're talking to Siri. You're not going to wait to hear 20 recommendations for a pizza place. That's already changing. So I think they recognize that. And so they did really, before we even get into the rest of it, two things. One, AEO. They really came out with a lot
of AEO stands for what?
Well, it can mean a couple of different things. It's either answer engine optimization or artificial intelligence engine optimization. But basically it refers to you're now either going into an LLM to do your search, or you're in a browser and you're relying on the AI to give you the summary. It's basically clickless search, not going
clickless search, meaning if I need to know something, I'll go into my ChatGPT and say, who is this Jeff Pedowitz and what should I know about him, right? And so it'll just come up right there for me. Exactly.
And so they really came up with a lot of practical guidance on how to do it.
Let me just stop there, because that for a marketer right now should be my mind is blown moment, right? Because how much money does the industry spend every year on search? Billions.
Both paid search and organic search.
It's billions. And now AI is saying, it's just a completely different way. So what is the role of HubSpot in that?
So, and that's the second part of it, right? Where they came out with, they call the loop, which of course we've had for 10 years, but their loop is complementary to our loop.
Now, the loop, meaning if you take a look at the entire customer journey from, I don't know anything about your company, to I'm happy and I refer you. So it's the entire customer life cycle we've created as a loop, right?
Correct. So that's what we have been working under for 10 years. And how do you align sales and marketing with an account-centric buying process? HubSpot's saying, listen, we're still all about helping marketers generate great content at scale and getting to know your audience, but we recognize we're in an AI world now. So we're going to approach this a little bit differently than we have in the past. So it still starts off with identifying who you are. What's our brand? What do we stand for? What's our voice? What do we have to say? How do we say it in a unique way? Then using really AI to help really refine your audience and kind of come up with the right types of segmentation at scale. So you truly are personalized one-to-one, millions. So now with that capability inside HubSpot, you truly can send out millions of different touch points, completely personalized. Now,
that's the promise. That's the promise that every marketing organization wants, is one-on-one personalization.
Well, now it's not a promise; it's reality. So if you have if you have Marketing Hub alone, let alone adding on some of the other hubs, you can do that. Now executing at scale. So we're not just talking about sending out batch and blast emails, but I want to be able to reach my customers wherever they are across the web and even in the dark web. I need to engage them at scale through multiple channels using AI to optimize. And then finally, measure. Okay, what's working, what's not working, but optimizing in real time. So for those of us that have grown up with A/B testing, multivariate testing, we've been doing this at scale with AI and HubSpot's platforms. It makes it a lot easier. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really, but that was one of the main takeaways. But then I mean, they came out with over 200 feature developments across the entire stack. I mean, Marketing Hub is now becoming Marketing Studio, which is going to blow Jasper and Writer and ChatSonic way out of the water, because you're going to be able to just execute all these campaigns through multiple channels and video at the touch of a button. Data Hub becoming Data Studio, being able to hook up to any system across your enterprise, orchestrating segments, data enrichment at scale inside HubSpot to drive intelligent, data-driven campaigns.
So let me ask you a question about that. So, one of the early monikers of HubSpot was, it's super easy to use, right? So what does that mean for the expertise and the training required for people who would have access and use of these features?
It still is easy to use. And as much as they added, it's actually even easier. But here's the problem, Deb, and this is the big takeaway I had, my aha moment. The gap's now wider. HubSpot almost did too good of a job, because they're rolling out all this stuff faster than a marketer can say, okay, wait, how do I use it? What problem am I trying to solve here? So, there are many companies that have multiple hubs, but a lot of clients just have Marketing Hub. And even within Marketing Hub, they're only still doing batch and blast email. They're not doing any kind of orchestrated sequences or multi-touch marketing. So you're rolling all the stuff out, boom, 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 boom. And people are like, well, okay, I just barely got the lights on. So I think the big gap now in the marketplace for HubSpot, but honestly, all the tech companies is marketing, yes, is changing, but we got to be able to paint by numbers. We got to be able to slow it down enough and help marketers understand.
And everything has to start with the problem that you're trying to solve.
Yes.
Again, you can't be overwhelmed by that, bright and shiny new piece of technology lens. It always has to be about the problem that marketers are trying to solve.
Even many of the partners, which fantastic partners, very smart, but all of us were like, well, damn, this is like, okay, where do you even start with some of this stuff? Because we're all having the same problems, which is how do we get our clients to use what they already bought? And now there's all this new stuff, which is fantastic, exciting. Would love to work with it, but if we can't get the clients to use the stuff that they already bought, how do you get them excited about the stuff they do? And look, at the end of the day, the marketers are still dealing with the same problems. Like, okay, we got to drive demand. We got to don't have enough resources, don't have enough time. And so we got to slow down long enough. And so my message to HubSpot was like, look, keep going. Cause from an innovation perspective, it's beautiful. At the same time, recognize that we can't afford to leave the customers behind. And I think Salesforce, same thing. I would say the same thing to them. Of course, I would have a different message for Adobe and Oracle, like catch the fuck up.
Exactly. I would agree. I would totally agree with that.
I don't know what you guys are doing over there, but
I don't know what the hell you're up to these days. Yeah. Are you? Yeah, exactly. I also want to kind of bring the discussion back to search. And you showed me that one feature in HubSpot where you could put your company in, or a description of your company, and it tells you how often you come up in search in some of the top LLMs. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's an AEO grader that HubSpot put out.
An AEO grader.
AEO grader. Yeah.
How cool is that?
Oh, it's very cool. So, and that's, you go then to the footer on HubSpot's site. It's in the tools section. You can, of course, everyone could put in their own website and knock yourself out. But it's really informative. And again, here's the thing.
Describe what it does so people understand, because you and I have seen it.
So if anybody's used tools like SEMrush or some of these other tools or Moz, and you go out and you see how well or even you use Search Console in Google and it tells you, okay, here's where your site's ranking. It's basically doing a similar thing, except it's telling you in Perplexity and Claude and ChatGPT, hey, here's how well your site is or isn't set
When people
up.
search in these LLMs for something that you do.
Correct. Then
Okay.
you're like, okay, so you're either doing really well, which most people, of course, are not, but here are your opportunities. Here's all the things that you need to fix. But then again, so the beautiful part is it tells you what's wrong. The second part is it doesn't tell you how. Right. So how do you then go ahead?
But that is an opportunity for us as a HubSpot partner, right?
For any HubSpot partner, but yes.
For any HubSpot partner, yeah. But it's one that we certainly will be having front and center, right? Because again, billions of dollars spent on search. That game is changing, and here's how to do it, in a brand new way.
And for me, what I like about AEO in the world of AI, it makes the most practical sense for us, because while it is related to AI, the things that we have to do as marketers, we already know how to do. Like we already know how to set up a page, how to write a piece of content, to optimize for search. The steps that are needed to convert it to an AEO friendly page are not that much different than the things that we do. It's a little bit different, but not dramatically different. And it doesn't require you to have any knowledge of AI at all in order to make that friendly. And this is what we have to do. Like we have to take all this incredible pace of innovation and we have to break it down into smaller steps. Because, and here's my other worry, as all these vendors race to get the AI and they want to move to a data usage play, right? So they're coming out with these pricing models based upon credits and how much you're going to use AI. But if you don't know how you're going to use AI and what your use cases are, how do you even forecast?
Well, not only that, AI is changing so fast, right? A pricing model from a year ago won't work today, right?
Right. So if you're already under pressure, and we saw in the revenue marketing index that 28% reduction in spend year over the last 3 years for marketers in their tech stack. So you've been on this whole mission quest to spend less on tech, but now of course you're getting pressured. I don't know if it's pressured, but the opportunity of the tech software that you have to start spending more because you're using AI, you're going to be right back where you started. But now you're going to be, now instead of having a tech stack like Frankenstein you don't know how to use, now you're going to be paying for all this AI data usage that you don't know how to use, and worse, you're not even going to understand how and why and what the usage patterns are.
And this is a constant theme in all of our revenue marketing raw sessions, is that the world of how tech is bought and used, honey, is changing, and it's changing so fast, and it's going to keep changing. And I can see a day where you don't buy an enterprise anything, you buy a bunch of mini modules, and they kind of come together. So I mean that, because again, as marketers, we've always been in a world of constant change, but the pace and scale right now is kind of crazy. And so you're right, Jeff. You just have to kind of like my PhD chair used to say, Debbie, epoche. That means just stand back. You have to just kind of like stand back, slow down. There's so much going on. Slow down, identify the most important problems to solve, and then be very smart about the technology that you use to help you do that. So I want to also spend a few minutes talking about it from an agency perspective. So we've been one of the fastest growing partners at HubSpot, and for good reason. But what about HubSpot and where they're going makes them a great partner for us and then for our clients?
Well, I mean, I think you and I have always evangelized fought for marketers and to get them a seat at the table. I think HubSpot continuously, even today, with all the stuff they roll out, continues to design the platform intentionally for their target audience, which is the marketers, and it's still very easy to use, very friendly, very and just obviously getting people to use it. So we really like that part. The ROI is incredible, in terms of you really start using the platform. The average price per seat you're going to pay is good. As they're really starting to move up market now, and of course we spend so much time working with mid-market enterprise customers. And so I think, and they have really good, strong product vision. So I think that's why it's a good fit for us. And they really, really do invest in their partners and the partner program. So, I mean, there's a lot to like about it. Yeah. But I think, look, for us and all other agencies, it's not just HubSpot. I mean, the world's changing. And if you're an agency or a consultancy, you're only as good as what you're doing today, because the stuff that you come out today gets commoditized tomorrow. AI democratizes knowledge, makes it a lot easier for people that don't even have the same amount of experience to do things that previously you spend years building. But it's the innovator's dilemma, right? So you just gotta,
absolutely.
You gotta. I mean, that's business, that's life, and customers will pay for value in their eyes, not ours. So it's our job to just continue to define and work and figure out what that value is. But platforms like HubSpot create more opportunities for those of us willing to dream and create. I mean, look, roll the clock back 20 years ago when we're still getting going. I mean, people didn't know what marketing automation was. They didn't know what demand generation was. I mean, these were not terms.
I remember the first time I saw an Eloqua demo in early 2004. I was so blown away by the possibilities of that. And here we are. We continue to be able to dream and think about the impact of this technology on the marketer, right? So I do have one other question, and we always like to talk about the elephant in the room, right? And we wouldn't be revenue marketing raw if we didn't talk about the elephant in the room. So at Inbound, what was the elephant in the room?
I think it was just that the gap. It's the gap between the promise of the platform and what people are actually using it for.
Okay.
And how do you actually close that gap? Because
so it's not I shouldn't say bless your heart to all those marketers.
No, not at all. I mean, actually, there's a lot of smart. It's not. It's just there's so many things to do and so many hours in the day, and marketers are already overwhelmed. And just slowing down long enough, because you can't make it about the tech. This is the problem. It's always been the problem. People go out and buy software and think they're doing stuff, but they don't have a strategy. They don't have a process. They don't have the people. They haven't put the skills in. And so you're sitting on these Ferraris of technology, but you're running it like a tricycle, because you can't slow down long enough to think about what you want to do. So the elephant really is, and they say, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time, right? So the way that you break it down is you break it down into.
And I love elephants. If I were going to be reincarnated, somebody asked me the other day, I'd want to be an elephant. So I don't want any comments about eating elephants. Just it's just a parable.
But they're growing for a reason. It's a great customer base, it's a great partner community, and it just really gets back to use cases, Deb. Just kind of like simply crawl, walk, run.
Okay. Crawl, walk, run. All right. Any final thoughts, Mr. Pedowitz?
Well, you're definitely going inbound next year.
Oh, hell yeah. I will have it planned in advance. Hey, we should be speaking next year at Inbound.
Yeah, we should be speaking next year.
Yeah. We should be speaking at HubSpot next year. So anyway.
Keynote, main stage.
Keynote. And to let everybody know, this is now our standard time, 12 o'clock Eastern for our live stream. So you guys plan to see us.
You got it.
Thanks, Jeff.
Till next week. We're raw.